Welcome back to another Q&A with Marcus.
And Ash Kusi.
We are the authors of Questions for Couples and bloggers from ourpeacefulfamily.com. This week, the question that we had from our reader is pertaining to letting go of past and being able to communicate better. Ashley will read the question and then we'll give our view on what we would do if we were in that situation.
The question reads, how can we create a new relationship that lets go of past hurts? How can we communicate better when one partner remembers events one way and the other remembers them another way? When two individuals were once very toxic to one another. When one spouse is so angry that littlest of things the other spouse does sets them off. How can we feel the love and desire again, to want to hold one another's hand instead of letting go? How can we do this even when we have a 2-year-old and a baby on the way? When he's a firefighter who's gone for 24 hours at a time? When she's battling depression? Is there any helping us when it seems like whatever we try falls short?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
a heavy question.
Yes, it's got a lot of moving pieces, so we'll try to tackle them one by one. I think that'll be the best way to do it.
I think first you need to both have some introspection and ask yourself, do you still want to really be in this relationship? Is it worth fighting for? Because this is going to take a lot of work. It's going to take you both fighting for it. A marriage cannot last when there's only one spouse who wants it and is fighting for it. So I would say recommend that you decide for yourselves if this is something you really want to do, that you're going to be intentional about it and put in the effort to better yourselves and better your relationship. So get on the same page with that. Find out, is this what you want? Yeah. The second thing I would say is you do need to find a really good therapist who can help guide you and walk you through this process, because sometimes it's a lot easier to have somebody who's outside of you and those to help give you insight onto patterns that you might be repeating and help you dig deeper without necessarily getting so defensive, which you might be from each other. So I would say definitely that. As far as the depression goes, I hope that she is getting the help that she needs from a doctor or a therapist. I myself battle with depression, and so we've talked about and we've dealt with a lot of that in our relationship, but getting help for that is so important. Once you're, oh my gosh, do you have anything to say while I'm thinking?
Yes. I'm looking at one of the questions, and then you make mention about the fact that how can you guys communicate and then how can you guys love each other again? And I think to communicate, you just have to, not that you just have to, but you have to put in the effort to practice the basic skills that everybody who is an effective communicator does. One is listening with undivided attention. Two is being able to listen with empathy. The other thing also is...
Let me just interject here. Okay. Empathy is going to be very important from this letter here that we've received. And listening with empathy, when we say that, is when you're listening to your spouse, not to agree with them, but to try to understand where they're coming from. And then they would hopefully do the same for you. Because we can talk about things and argue about things, and he can have completely different view on the topic. I don't have to agree with him, but I can see where he's coming from and the emotion under it. And that helps me to be more accepting and more kind in my response to him. And so I think that'll definitely be imperative for when you are trying to communicate with each other.
Yes. On top of what Ashley said, when it comes to being an effective communicator, you should also learn to be able to communicate with him without interrupting, because those are two really key things that if you're able to do, it will take your communication skills to a whole new level. Being able to listen with empathy and being able to stop yourself from interrupting when your spouse is talking to you, that's going to play a huge role. When it comes to bringing the love back, I'll recommend that you guys get the book called The 5 Love Languages, and then you read it together. You can even take the quiz. We'll create a link to the quiz in the video below, so in the comment section, so you can go there and then take the quiz. So when you know each other's love languages, you can communicate and then show love the way that the other person receives it. Those two things are going to help you. The other thing I'll say is we have a really detailed article on our website. It's about communication without fighting, being able to communicate without fighting. And I'll also link to that article below this video, so you can go check it out and then read, because it's also very detailed, that shows you what you can do to improve communication with him.
I want to point out that in the letter it says that it was once a toxic relationship. So just by looking at this, it seems like you can see that you've made progress. Like it was once toxic, it was once harmful, and now it's not, or not so much. And so if you can look back and say, hey, we did something together, we got out of that, there's hope. You can move forward and, move into a better relationship for you both. As long as you're both on board, anything is possible. You can always better yourself and your marriage, and your children will be better off for it too.
Yeah.
Something else that this in here that I noticed was when one spouse is so angry that the littlest of things the other spouse does sets them off. That for me feels like there's probably some resentment and a lot of things that are just built up over time, and stress, and you're keeping things in. So to help with that, you need to dig deep and get into that resentment. Something else to mention when it comes to dealing with these difficult emotions in your marriage and when you're communicating is to ask yourself, once you realize what you're feeling, I'm feeling angry right now. Why am I feeling angry? Is it because my spouse is doing this to purposely make me angry? Or am I reacting angry on them because of something inside me? Is this triggering something for me? Have I mentioned to them that this bothers me before? So really digging deep in there into yourself and learning emotional intelligence will go huge when it comes to this. And it's difficult with kids when you've got little ones running around. We know our kids are a little bit older now, but
yes,
they add extra stress.
Yes, they definitely make things difficult and a little challenging at times. Yeah.
But it's very important to be intentional, to make that time for each other, to have conversations, to have fun conversations, to spend time with each other, but also to have those more difficult conversations. For us, we do have to wait till they go to bed, which is actually when we're filming this, because it's the only time our house is quiet. But it's the time of day where we can talk without interruptions. So I know it's hard, it looks like, with his schedule as a firefighter. But really it comes down to, do you want this? If the answer is yes for both of you, then it's going to take some changing of your schedule and your lifestyle. It's going to take some help, outside help, I would say, from a therapist or a trusted professional, and definitely help with the depression, the medical help.
Yeah. So just to recap with everything we were saying, make sure you talk and make sure you guys are on board. You want to move forward with your marriage. The next thing is get professional help. The other thing is to learn how to communicate with each other. Then the other thing is being able to know each other's love language so you can communicate in that way. And then the last thing is that, being able to have patience and be able to empathize with each other, because since you're going to work on this together, having that patience, especially with a newborn and him being a firefighter, is really going to help you a lot. Like it's going to be a game changer for you guys.
Yeah. And I just want to touch on one more thing that we didn't really get too in on, is the how can we feel the love and desire again? And for us, when we felt like, the kids and life and things were just like it, I realized that I was taking Marcus for granted. And so remembering and showing appreciation, figuring out things that I was grateful for, making a list, really helped to change my mindset and put it in a different perspective. So that helped. And then as far as intimacy goes, just having conversations again about, hey, do you want to try this? Or do you have any advice there?
Just do your best that you can. I think you guys can make this work so far as both of you are on board. You just have to work on yourselves. You have issues that you have to deal with. Get the help you need, and you guys will be able to succeed. We strongly believe you'll be able to move forward with this. Yeah,
just build a support system around yourself and within your marriage, and build a friendship, build on your friendship. Because I think that's really what helped us get through the hard times was our friendship.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thank you very much for sending in your question. If you're new to our channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on the next videos I'll be putting out soon. And we'll see you again. Thank you.